Yo, what is up, Karma Nation? We're back at it again for another special Halloween episode of our Prop Party Pod. I am here with my favorite co-host Ethan, who I see is dressed up as a bum today.
Yep, as
Oh,
always.
how you doing?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Today's going to be a good day. This weekend's going to be a good weekend. I'm ready.
Oh yeah, we get to party all night and then win some money the next day while we're hungover.
Yeah, hey, I bet you someone sleeps in tomorrow, Mrs. Locke. I bet you that happens.
Oh, there'll be a lot of West Coast people. I'm glad I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
not West Coast because 10 o'clock lock. I couldn't do that.
yeah,
But
I couldn't either. I'm glad I live central.
I'm sure I can wake up by 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you like to sleep in.
Yeah.
See,
Um,
I'm used to waking up early. I go work out at 4 o'clock in the morning every day during
that's
the week. So
that's a little ridiculous. Oh man.
yeah, I gotta get the workout in, man.
Yeah, but you also
Gotta
gotta
stay
get the
fit for the ladies.
get the diet in too.
Yeah, I gotta get the diet in. Fast
Uh,
food is my weak calling.
yeah, you can't wake up at 4 a.m. every day and not be considered of your diet at least.
Yeah, no. I know what you mean. So, we had a
Mhm.
good week last week.
Yeah, great week.
NFL.
Won some money there. Prize picks did well, and Monkey Knife Fight did well. So
Yeah,
we're
very,
off
very good week.
to a pretty good start here. Prize Picks Thursday did well, I believe. And
Yes.
then
Very,
Monkey Knife
very
Fight got screwed over because they benched Gurley or something mid game. I don't know
first
what that
half.
was.
First half they
Yeah,
benched them.
there were like rumors of his knee bothering him or something. But yeah, it's Brian Hill had all the open holes while Gurley just ran into his lineman. I don't know if he just didn't see the holes or just didn't have the holes like Brian Hill had. So we had a 2 for 3 rapid fire was our main cash play. Uh, it was a Julio over Robbie Anderson receptions was the easiest of them, which was the only one that hit. And then we had passing yards between Bridgewater and um, Ryan, which we assumed run funnel defense with the Panthers. So we went with Teddy Bridgewater against the worst pass defense in the league, and he puts up, what, 120, 150 passing yards.
Well, he missed two drives, I think. One for sure. I think 1.5 drives because of that injury he suffered.
Yeah, I was surprised they came back in. That looked
Yeah, me
rough.
too.
And then Gurley could not beat out Davis because he got benched in the first half. The Falcons whole as a whole beat out Davis, but apparently Matt Ryan wanted to show off he was Lamar Jackson, and
Yeah.
they just gave Brian Hill everything. So unlucky there, but Prize Picks hit.
And,
So
and this is why we tell you to play both sides. Because even though Monkey Knife Fight missed Thursday night, we hit on price picks. So it was still like, at least for me personally, it was a profitable night, even though I only won on one site. So always play both sites if you can. I believe in most states you can play both. I know for sure if you can play price picks, you can play Monkey Knife Fight. Because price picks is in every state, Monkey Knife Fight is. So get in both sites, register, use promo code Karma, and win some money with us.
yeah,
And I love this week, Joey. I love this week.
Yeah, I'm real excited about this week. There's a
Yeah.
lot of weather issues we can take advantage of or also have to wait on. But yeah, we got 5 games with issues: the Cincinnati Tennessee game, the Green Bay Minnesota game, the Patriots Bills game, the Vegas Cleveland game, and the Saints Chicago game. So all have some wind issues, and there's also some rain. So watch out. There could be some props that are lower than what they should be just because the rain. I know Josh Allen's at like 240, but there's good reason for that. So just watch out. Make sure you check the weather this week before locking in any props. And also wait for the morning because sometimes weather can change too. And you can
Yeah.
take advantage of a prop that was low because of weather and the weather just disappears. So a
Yeah.
lot of
And,
things you can
well,
take advantage of.
and one thing I want to touch on the weather. I'm not a weatherman, so I could be way off here. But from what I've been reading from Kevin Roth, is there is a cold front coming through, and there's some timing issues with this cold front, especially in the Green Bay game. That cold front comes in earlier than what they're anticipating. Weather's going to be a little nicer in that game, so that's why we're telling. That's why we're saying for these weather games, wait until the morning because that's where you get your most accurate weather updates, and a lot can change between now and tomorrow morning. So I highly suggest kind of waiting on some of these props.
Yeah, watch out with some of them. You could pound the unders and then at the end of the first half, the weather's just gone. So
Yeah.
just watch out for them. I usually try to avoid them unless there's a true edge and we know the weather's going to be there the whole time. Or you can take advantage of some second half props too. If the game's still close and the weather disappears, it could be snowing like crazy the first half, and each quarterback has 50 yards, and then it just disappears, and then they have 200 yards in the second half. So
Yeah.
good
I
things
agree.
to take advantage of there. So just monitor the weather, see what's going on. Hop in our Discord. It's free, chatdfs.com, or you could do bettingkarma.com for the BetKarma Discord. And I'm sure people will be in there talking weather. So
Yeah.
pretty good stuff there just for free Discord. You can get some good information. Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our amazing content and live streams. Check out our core plays, only $15 a week. Ben's been killing it with the cores. Had some up and down weeks with props, but I think we're hitting our stride now. So good time to hop in.
Yeah. Monkey Knife Fight, I think we're 5-2 on the year for profit for the week. So
Yeah, we've had some pretty good weeks. Just had one bad week from injuries, but nothing to predict there. But
overall for the season, we're up.
other than that, we've just been having a pretty good season. So hop in before it's too late and you miss out on all the greenery.
Right.
All right, so let's get into the props now. I'm sure that's why you came here and didn't want to just hear us chat. So let's hear what you got to say for the Green Bay game. I believe you're going with.
Yeah. So let's talk about this Minnesota Green Bay game. This is a very interesting game because Aaron Jones is out. So it's the same situation as last week. Jamal Williams is going to get the start. He's going to get a lot of the carries. Pretty much get all the carries. He's going to be very involved in the game. Williams played 89% of the snap count last week. He had 5 targets, 4 catches, and 19 carries. So he was very much involved. And these prop sites this week, Joey, are still – his fantasy total is low, and I don't understand it. PrizePicks did it. MonkeyKnifeFight did it. He is 16.5 on MonkeyKnifeFight. That's an easy over for me, and I feel very confident on that, whether or no weather. Jamal Williams is going to get his stuff. So this game's going to be very cold. It's going to be very windy. It's going to impact the passing game. These guys are not going to tackle. This is going to be a very fun who can run the ball, who can throw the short passes, who can control the clock. And Green Bay comes in second in the league in time of possession. Second. So if Green Bay gets this lead, guess what's happening in that second half? They're going to control the clock. And they're going to run. They're going to run, pass. Run, pass. We saw that last week with Houston. The total in this game is 50, but 30 of those points is coming on the Packers side. So Packers are also 7 points favorite, touchdown favorite. So I fully expect the Packers win. I think Green Bay dominates this game. Dalvin Cook is back for Minnesota. So Minnesota will try and establish the run early. That we do know, especially if that wind is blowing. Cousins has looked awful this year, and I don't think they want to start off throwing pick sixes, interceptions in their own half of the field, letting Green Bay get up 14-0 on their mistakes. So I see both teams really trying to establish that run early in the game. So one thing I'm looking at that I like is the passing yards. You have Aaron Rodgers at 282.5 and Kirk Cousins at 258.5. I personally like both unders because I just see both teams running the ball. And if this game, for some reason, does stay close the whole time, I could see this just becoming a running game all game long. Because I guarantee you Minnesota does not want to pass the ball. Rodgers will pass the ball, not necessarily deep. He'll run those crossing routes, intermediate, short, get those first downs. But I fully expect this game to be a running game with Jamal Williams and Dalvin Cook. And Minnesota ranks 22nd against the run. Jamal Williams should have a field day tomorrow. So I love Jamal Williams over 16.5. Another prop I'm looking at, Joey, is Valdez Scantling. His receptions at 3.5. Rodgers just hates the guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't target him much during the game. He runs those deep routes. We've talked about the wind, the cold. There's just not going to be too many deep routes being thrown. I love the under on Marquez Valdez at 3.5. I feel that's pretty easy.
Yeah, that's
But
probably one of the easier props in the game. I've taken advantage of that prop 2 weeks in a row now. He's just, I mean, he's a deep threat. Deep threats don't get targeted a ton. Even with Adams out, he wasn't getting targeted a ton. He's
yeah,
not going to get targeted a ton when Adams is in. So he might get 2 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown, which is good for fantasy, but he's not going to get those, he won't get
yeah,
the catches. So.
yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Um, so I like that prop personally. Adam Thielen, something we got to discuss. Okay. 67.5 receiving yards. His fantasy total is 16.5. He's going to have the Alexander shadow. I think Alexander can shut him down. What do you think, Joe? You think Alexander can shut down Adam Thielen?
Pretty easily. My only issue is his red zone work, and his end zone work. But other than that, I assume he's gonna have a rough game, and these teams obviously gonna run. So I don't see him getting more than like 6 targets today, tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. And we also have to remember Dalvin Cook is back. So yes, Adam Thielen's the leading receiver for them in the red zone. But if they're in the red zone, first and goal from like the 5 yard line, I bet you they're running it all 3 times with Dalvin Cook to get in the end zone.
Yeah, so that's one thing. So he is leading like the team and the league in red zone targets and end zone targets, but that doesn't mean they're still not running it a ton. Thielen just gets every single red zone target and touch,
Correct.
red zone target and end zone target, but there's still, I think it's still like 60-70% rushing in the red zone. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what Minnesota does. They pay Kirk Cousins, what, $30 million a year just to hand the ball off. They'd much
Yeah.
rather just run the ball than pass the ball. So just fully
But
expecting running for most of the game.
yeah, but if we can avoid that Adam Thielen touchdown, I do like the under on that fantasy total. I feel like that's a kind of touchdown bet you're making there. If he gets touchdown, he's probably going over. No touchdown, he's probably going under. But I think Alexander can shut him down with, he's one of the best corners in the league. Plus, you got the win. Plus, Cousins looks awful this year. It's just the right ingredients to take the under, I feel, if you wanted to play that prop. So, a couple props I like in this. It's very weather dependent. So I would not lock in anything with this game until tomorrow morning, probably, and then we'll go from there, obviously. So, but those are my leans as of right now. I like both running backs over fancy points, rushing yards. I like the quarterbacks under passing yards, receivers under. I would not touch Devontae Adams at 91.5. He will get his.
Yeah.
He will probably go over, but I'm a little concerned with the win, though. I don't think it's a sure thing like it was last week against Houston.
Yeah, so one thing you have to watch out for, I'm not sure why they were playing Texans last week. I'm not sure why. I guess I know why because their coaching staff sucks. But you don't let one guy just kill you all game. Like at halftime, they didn't make any adjustments. At the end of the first quarter, they don't make a good adjustments. I mean, you'd rather double or triple Adams and just have someone else make Rodgers throw to MVS or someone he doesn't want to throw to. So I could see Minnesota don't want to get embarrassed again, like the Texans did. So
Yeah,
they could easily.
Texans look so bad.
Yeah, I don't know. There was no improvements in that game. Coaches actually look at what's going on in the game and change their game plans, which the Texans didn't do. So I expect Adams not to be embarrassing everyone. 91 yards is a lot of receiving yards. You're not going to see, on average, someone do that. Minnesota does suck at defense. I'm not saying they're good or anything, but just watch out for the double team because Rodgers has no one else to throw to, and I'm sure they're fine with doubling or even triple teaming Adams, so they don't have to deal with him all game.
Well, that's the smart thing to do. Adams, I think, even came out last week with a quote, where he was surprised he wasn't getting double teamed. In his way, he's saying that as disrespect. Why aren't teams doubling me?
Yeah.
And there's not another receiver on this Green Bay team that scares you. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be doubling him every single route he's running.
Yeah, we know Rodgers has no trust in anyone else. It's kind of like Brady last year. He had no trust in anybody but Edelman. He'd just force feed Edelman targets and pass up on wide open wide receivers just because you don't trust your other receivers, which is something Rodgers doesn't.
I mean, he'd probably trust Jamal Williams the second most out of the whole team.
Yeah, we saw when Adams was out, the running backs had like 20 to 25 targets
Yeah,
that one game. Irving got like 5, Williams got like 6, and Jones got like 6 or 7. Like,
yeah.
they'd much rather just throw to running backs than anything else.
No, I agree with you. So that's where my head's at this game. No official plays on this game unless you really want to lock in something now. You know where all my leans are, but we will have some official plays from this game. Obviously tomorrow morning once we get a better read on this weather.
Yeah,
So
because if the weather's fine, they're going to force feed on Thielen targets when they're down 14 points.
exactly.
And he'll go over 100%. I mean, he might have like 8 catches for 80 yards or something.
Yeah.
Just because he's on 12 or 15 targets. And if the weather's bad, they probably can't feed Justin Jefferson, so Thielen could still end up with some low A-dot targets.
Yeah.
So
I agree. So
it's tough.
That's where I'm at, Joey. What are you looking at?
I am looking at the Seattle game here. We can pull that up. Yeah, it's got the highest over-under on the slates. Surprisingly, Green Bay had the second highest. It's a low-scoring slate. We've seen some slates where there's about 8 or 9 50-point games totals, but this slate there's only 3. So we got the highest on the slate with 54 points, which should equate to like 7 touchdowns, 7 or 8 touchdowns most likely. So if you get that mindset, we're looking at 3-ish targets for each quarterback. And something we have to look at is all the running backs in this game are injured. So we got Carson questionable, Hyde doubtful, Homer questionable. We lost Jeff Wilson, he's out. Debo, who's basically a hybrid running back, kind of like we saw with Curtis Samuel on Thursday. He's out. So what do we got? We got Jermichael Hasty and Tevin. I don't know if Tevin Coleman's playing.
He's still on IR.
Yeah, they didn't bring him back. So we got Hasty and McKinnon. Which McKinnon rested last game. We didn't get word of that until after the game, but it was a planned rest. I know some fantasy owners got screwed over by that. I did for the Dynasty team, but I still won. But let's see here. So we got a shootout on our hands. We can look at the quarterbacks first. We can pull up their fantasy points. We got Russell Wilson at 23.5, and we got Jimmy Garoppolo at 17.5. We know the 49ers love to run, but I'm expecting Seahawks to get up early on them. And they're letting Russ throw, and I'm sure we're going to see Russ throw and run all game long tomorrow. Because there's no running back. We know he's fine getting it done with his feet. So I could expect about 20 to 30 rushing yards for him for sure. And then we got 3 or 4 touchdowns. San Francisco's defense has been playing better than I expected with all those injuries. I'm not sure is Richard Sherman back? I can't remember.
I don't know the answer off the top of my head.
Yeah. So let me see if Sherman's back real quick. I forgot to check that out. Let's see. Richard Sherman is
questionable, I bet.
He's going to be reevaluated after 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, so he's not back yet. It looks like.
All right.
He still needs to be reevaluated. So they're without Nick Bosa. They're without Solomon Thomas. They're without Richard Sherman. The defense is playing great without them, but it's the Seahawks who have the best offense in the league combined with the worst defense in the league. So that's a perfect combination for points because the 49ers are going to have to pass. I mean, they're fine with using McKinnon and Hasty, but when they're down 14 points, they're not going to be fine with that, obviously. So we're going to have to see them pass. We saw Jimmy Garoppolo. He looks pretty good without his injury. The first game back, he was still hurt. So he had a rough game. And then once he got to that Rams game, it looked like he was pretty good to go. And they just destroyed New England. Granted, that was all on the ground. But I love the offense. George Kittle, I don't see them having an answer for him. at all. Nobody really has an answer for him in the Seattle defense. I mean, no one's going to be able to guard him. Jamal Adams is questionable, so he's the only guy who'd be able to stop George Kittle. So if we get word that Jamal Adams is out, I'm all in on this game. But he has not practiced all week, and I can't find the Friday injury report for this game for some reason. They just don't have it on the website.
They didn't practice.
Yeah. So we don't have. If we knew their Friday practice report, we would know for sure if he was playing it or not. Because if they don't practice all week, they're not playing. If they're able to get a limited practice in on Friday or a full practice, they're even though they're questionable, they're gonna play, barring any setbacks and warm ups or anything. Yeah. So we know that, and even with a rush, if because we got Mike Upati out for Seattle, so. If they're able to get to the quarterback, Russ is just gonna scramble, and he'll still get his fantasy points. Because we know he's fine just taking it with his legs.
He did a lot of that last week. He did it pretty successfully too against Arizona.
Yeah, he read that man coverage and just had everyone go out, and he'd have those open running lanes, which we know. San Francisco's still getting good pressure on the quarterback. I think they're 5th in the league with pressures, 5th or 6th right now. So. They've had no issues even missing Thomas and Bosa. They haven't missed many steps. It looks like they're getting pressure on 27% of the snaps, which is pretty insane without those two studs. And Pittsburgh's up there at 37.5, way above everyone else, which is even crazier. That defense.
Hey, Joey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You think this is a Lockett game or a DJ Metcalf game? Last week it was all Lockett, and that was it.
Yeah, I got a takedown last week because I played Lockett over DK.
Yeah,
it's back and forth.
What's your lean on those two this week? Are they both going off, one of them, or what are we thinking there?
This is a tough choice. I've been back and forth on that. I think this is a mix of both. I can see them both just getting to 100 yards and the touchdown in this game, but I don't have a strong lean on this game for either or. But yeah, I know the Cardinals were good at denying some big plays, so that's why I was kind of off on DK. Even though Lockett does do big plays, but he's.
Well, I think they doubled him last week, right? They ran that safety over top.
Yeah, safety over top to prevent those big plays. And you'd rather have. I mean, DK's slowly becoming the number one in that offense. So, I mean, he's looked amazing. There were some questions coming out of. College, if he could cut and run routes well, then he clearly can.
Oh man, talk about that interception, that pick 6 tackle he made.
Oh, I saw him.
Man, that guy was running.
I saw him sprinting from the beginning. I'm like, no way, this man's gonna catch him.
He did.
Wow, I couldn't believe his speed. I didn't think he was that fast, but
yeah,
I thought
Wilson really reward him for that, but Wilson just never really went his way. It was all Lockett, so I was surprised.
Yeah.
I joked with Joey pre-pod, guys. I said, Joey, I'm just gonna max every single fantasy prop in this game over every single one. He laughed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a chance. At least, I mean, I assume 80% of these guys are gonna go over. So you can lock in the 3 for 5 and the 4 for 5 in this game. I don't know. Do they still have 4 for 5s? They keep getting rid of things for fantasy points.
This for yesterday, I posted the 4 for 4 as a GPP play.
Yeah, we got those 4 for 4 overs. Because we're on the fence with. The issue is, they have no 3. Here's the 4 for 5. If you want to go safe, the 4 for 5, because that has DK and Lockett, one of them's going to go over. And both could easily go over. Not saying only one of them's going to go over, but both could easily go over for sure. So I'd say the 4 for 5 is the safest because I believe 80% of these guys are going to go over, which is 4 for 5. Quick maths.
And Jimmy G's, I think, way too low. I mean, you look at PrizePicks, and that's one thing we like to do, Joey, is look at PrizePicks and MonkeyKnifeFight and kind of compare. And Jimmy G's 20.5 on PrizePicks. That's a touchdown difference between the two sides.
Yeah, that's a big difference. I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm still surprised he's 17.5, and it's Saturday. He's been 17.5 all week, and it's Saturday, and no one's raised his price. Wilson too. We put a big bet. Most of the people in Discord put big bets on Wilson and Kamara over in the Star Shootout, and it still hasn't moved for some reason. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe we're just falling into a trap. Hopefully we're not, but maybe no one else is just on the game for some reason.
I mean, we've seen it before where the highest totals end up being the lowest totals. It happens before. I just don't see it in this game. That Seahawks offense is just way too good, and they bleed passing yards to opposing quarterbacks. So Kittle, Jimmy G is going to be, I think, awesome tomorrow.
Yep, and no weather issues. Nice and sunny. 4 mile an hour, 3 mile an hour winds. 50s. Perfect football weather. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Usually when I'm excited for a prop, they let me down, but I'd say I don't see this prop letting me down, especially the 4 for 5. Because I think the 4 for 5 is the safest prop on the slate to get you 4x. The 2 for 2 quarterback's great, but for some reason we could see Jimmy G not go over just because they ran the touchdowns in. Which without Jeff Wilson, who's their goal line guy, I could see them trying to force feed Kittle in the red zone. And they don't have Debo for those end arounds either, even though Ayuk's just athletic and speedy as him.
He's only 13.5.
Yeah, I hate how they got rid of the 6 for 6 fantasy, because it would be Ayuk as the 6th. I'd love to go all over 6 for 6 fantasy in this game.
Yeah.
So, but of course they got rid of it and it's only stats, and let's check the stats. You can just, I mean, if you want, I hate Kendrick Bourne, so I'd play the 5 for 5 if I'm going to do this. 5 for 5 all over for fun if you want as well. 4 for 4 all over. It's just, I don't see an under in this game that I like.
It's not a safe bet, at least. I'm sure someone could go under, but it's just not a safe bet to take any unders in this game.
Yeah, someone's gonna go under. I mean, most of the time, even in these shootouts, one guy goes under. Even like in the Cardinals game, like everyone went way over, and then you had DK just non-existent in the game.
Yeah.
So you can go safe, go for 4 for 5, and then you don't have to guess on which wide receiver is gonna go over. Because either both of them are go over, or one of them is 100% going to go over. If Russ, let's just say if Russ goes over 23.5, Russ isn't going to go over 23.5 without at least one of these guys going over. Because who's he going to throw to? Will Disley, Greg Olsen?
Yeah, I mean, with no running backs there, especially. I mean, I would not be shocked if Wilson throws for 300 to 400 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns, rushes for 60 to 80 yards, maybe a rushing touchdown here. It wouldn't shock me.
I guess the only way he goes over and everyone else doesn't go, at least one of these guys doesn't go over, is if he gets like 2 rushing touchdowns, which the probability is just so low at that. It's negligible. You don't have to worry about it. So a lot of overs I like in that game. Just whatever prop you like best, just pound some overs. As long as it's fantasy points overs, not stats, because there's some stats I don't like. Like Kendrick Bourne I don't really like, but he's just in the 6 for 6. Everyone else. So the 6 for 6 is the only one I wouldn't say lock in all overs. Like the 4 for 5 stats is pretty fun too. You got yards for both the receivers, which one of those guys is going to go over for sure because Russ is going to throw for 400 yards. Right. I actually like the 4 for 5 stats as much as the 4 for 5 fantasy points.
Yeah,
Kittle's going to be force fed for sure.
You picked a good game.
Yeah, I'm just going to probably just play a bunch of these plays and just have some fun and go overs with a couple different props on this game.
I'm either going to come back next Sunday making a lot of money, or I'm going to be very poor next Sunday. We'll see.
You're going to be rich as hell.
Yeah, I hope so. That's the plan.
Yeah, so that's all I have for that game. Anything, I guess I touched everything in that game, so there's
it's just hard because, like you said, there's 5 weather games. You know, be in our Discord. We'll talk about the weather in the morning. There's going to be a lot more props tomorrow morning. And there's a lot of juicy ones, Joey, that you and I have our eyes on. We talked about pre-pod. But it's hard to really feel confident on placing these props right now just because we want to make sure the weather's lined up with how it is right now in our thinking. So
yeah, we're going to drop these non-weather props today in Discord just because I know some people might not be able to be in Discord in the morning just because they're exhausted or they just slept in too much because it's all a weekend. So we got to be considerate of all our young, boozy drinkers out there. So
yeah. You want to go to Prize Picks?
Of course, let's go to Prize Picks. Let's see
Woohoo!
what we got here. I haven't looked
Oh,
too much into it, but I know there's some good props we are eyeing up.
oh yeah. So I have an article that is either out already or will be out soon.
It is
Uh,
out.
it
It's
is
on
out,
the
so
website.
check our website out for my last look Prize Pick article. Um, Jamal Williams over 16. I mean, do I need to say more? That's too low.
It's Yeah, we touched on that on the Monkey Knife Fight section. It's just it's
Too
too
low.
low.
Another one we talked about, Joey, Le'Veon Bell. What do you think? 10.8 revenge narrative, going back playing Jets. He played a lot of snaps last week. He had about 33% of the snaps. That game should be a blowout by second half. They should be running it. That's probably a touchdown bet,
Yeah.
but I like Le'Veon Bell over. I bet Chiefs give him a touchdown. He wants it.
Yeah, so I was eyeing up that on DK Sportsbook, mainly just because there's going to be a blowout and they have no problem just force feeding him touches in the second half, I would say.
Yeah.
Just because I mean, it's a 19.5 point spread, one of the biggest we've seen in the last decade. I think the second highest or third highest spread of the decade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I could see this game being 21. I could see this game being 35-0 at halftime. Nothing. It would surprise nobody. Even though it's a 20-point spread, it'd surprise no one if this game was 35-0 at halftime.
The Jets covered their first game last week all year.
And that was because the Bills attempted 8 field goals. They just couldn't get anything in the end zone for some reason. I know Talia Croft pulled a Daniel Jones and slipped on like the 20-yard line when he had like a 50-yard touchdown,
Right.
which cost me like $400 because I had him and Josh Allen at low ownership.
No Crowder for the Jets. No Hogan. The offense already sucks. I don't see where they're getting their offense from against the Chiefs, even though I know the Chiefs defense is kind of blah.
They have Frank Gore.
Woohoo!
Against a bad run defense, Frank Gore, give him 20 carries, slow this game down so it's not like the worst loss in NFL history.
Well, let me ask you this, Joey. Do you think Clyde Edwards at 14.5? What do you think about that prop?
I'm not going to touch the Chiefs because they're going to score a ton of... I can't go under on any Chiefs, but if they don't get in the first half, they're not going to get in the game.
Except
my
for
only concern. Bell. Yeah, because you could see... Mahomes... It could be 35-0 at half, and Mahomes isn't over because Clyde had 3 rushing touchdowns. So it's tough to... I'm not going to go under on these guys because they all could go over so easily.
Yeah.
But we could also see some pick sixes from Sam Darnold, so it's just a game I want to avoid.
I agree with you there.
But you can go over on any of them. I just wouldn't touch the under. But they like to spread the ball out. I'd say the safest under in this game would be Tyreek Hill.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, unless he catches that deep pass, then he's going over, but...
He still has a good chance of going over, but I'd say he's the safest because he's not guaranteed touches. Yeah. They could try to not allow any big... you don't know the issue is you can't guess the coach's game plan. The coach could just try to limit big-time plays just so the game doesn't get out of hand. They'd rather have, 5-yard passes to Travis Kelce than a 50-yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill. Yeah. So they don't score so many points. That's my guess is what the Jets' game plan is. Just don't lose by that many points.
Yeah. That's the way to look at it going into it.
I assume Gase gets fired after this game when it is a really bad game.
I don't know how he's not fired already, to be honest with you.
I think they just want to continue losing games, is my guess. Yeah. So that's the issue. Why fire a coach when he's losing you games and can get you Trevor Lawrence? So might as well keep the coach all year and then just get a new coach at the end of the year who wants Trevor Lawrence as their quarterback to groom him into something if they want to prove something. Let's talk
about one quarterback, Joey. I think we got to touch on him. He's making his NFL debut this week. Tua, Miami quarterback.
Yeah.
He's at 16. How do you think they're playing the Rams? What do you think? Think he's gonna have a good first game, or is Donald and that defense gonna smother him?
I would say I just don't trust Tua in this. Is it home or away? I have not checked that game.
I believe it's home, but I can check real quick. Um,
Because
let's
I
see here.
don't know if I
If the
want
Rams were home last week, yeah, it's at Miami.
at Miami.
And Rams do not when they play East Coast, they do not perform well. It's a proven stat. Goff sucks on the road.
So my thing about Goff is yes and no. He sucks in. It depends on the weather. Goff likes good weather, and it's Miami. Um, so I mean, Miami always has good. Oh, it's raining. Oh no, never mind. It's raining some of the day. It's on and off showers during the day. So if we're gonna get, that could be a nice upset if it starts raining during the game, because I know Goff just hates any weather that's not 80
Yeah.
degrees and sunny and no wind, which that's what it is in Miami, except for scattered thunderstorms throughout the day. So if
But
the weather does hit, Goff's gonna have a bad game.
but one thing I worry about, we talk, that game's a 12 o'clock game. Well, that's 10 o'clock West Coast. That's early for Goff.
Yeah, so that was kind of proven. So that was always a thing. People said that West
East
Coast,
Coast.
yeah, the 1 o'clock game, but apparently that's just not true. Like over the past 5 years, the West Coast teams like win 75% of the time, but again, you don't know who they're playing, so it could be all good West Coast teams playing all bad East Coast teams. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a noise stat, which you really actually have to dive into deep. But yeah, I mean, it does make sense that, but it's still 10 o'clock. It's not like it's an 8 or 7 o'clock game
Yeah.
for them.
I hear you.
So, and they usually get there early enough where the time change doesn't bother them too much.
Yeah. Don't forget to check out the DFS Karma Twitter site. I'll be dropping a free price pick play on that tomorrow morning. Um, do you have anyone else you want to touch on, Joey, or you kind of want to leave? I know there's some weather games that we want to pound, but
So there
you know,
is, so the Cincinnati game. There's some guys I want to target. So my issue is, so they're starting right tackle, left tackle, and center. And we know Tennessee's defense isn't that good. They're actually pretty bad. But without missing that line, Burrow's gonna have some issues, and I know Gio Bernard's gonna have some issues too. I know he's a pass catching back, so he can still go over that 15.5, but I don't see him scoring in the red zone at all. Just because I assume Tennessee can handle a already. Cincinnati is one of the worst lines in the league, and now they're missing three of their starters. I don't see how the Titans don't just control the line and just destroy the Bengals and not let Geo do anything. So I don't mind the under on Geo at 15.5. But the Titans don't get much pressure. They're one of the worst sack percentages in the league. They only get a sack on 3% of their.
Well, they have Clowney, and that's about it.
Yeah, they barely get any pressure. They barely get any hurries. They don't blitz much. So if the lines, I mean, they're one of the worst defensive lines in the league. They're getting no pressure. They're getting no sacks. But they might, Clowney, if he wants to prove his worth, I know he wanted a lot of money in the offseason. So if he wants to prove his worth, he's going to get to Burrow a bunch in this game.
Yeah.
And not let them run the ball. So I don't mind the Geo under 15.5. My only concern is if they do get pressure, is Geo just going to get some dump offs. So he could end up with 5 or 6 dump offs. But I still like the under. Touchdown or bust, I would say, for Geo. But more likely go under than over with those line concerns. Yeah, there's some. I don't mind Derrick Henry over as well. 22. I assume they're just going to feed Henry rushes, but that's probably a 2 touchdown bet for Derrick Henry is the only issue. Because he's projected for 100 yards. That'll get him to 10, obviously. And then 2 touchdowns is 12. So that's 22, and I'm sure he'll catch 1 or 2 passes. So most likely he is at 18 with 1 touchdown and 24 with 2 touchdowns. So
Yeah.
you're basically a 2 touchdown bet, which you can get better odds than DK Sportsbook, I assume. But most people can't play on the sportsbooks or don't trust offshore bookies.
Like me.
So yeah, I hate offshore bookies as well.
Yeah, me too.
I don't trust them. I mean, they're offshore and they can do whatever they want. So I would say the over on Derrick Henry because I believe he's gonna have a ceiling game.
I do too.
But yeah, also Kareem Hunt should be able to feast on this Vegas defense. He'll get some passes. No OBJ, so I'm sure Hunt will be involved in the passing game more again.
I like that Cleveland game a lot.
Yeah, there's some good plays in the Cleveland game. I assume Landry's gonna have 10 targets. So 12 and a
Man.
half.
Don't talk about Landry. That guy screwed me last week.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think he'd go off without Odell Beckham, but man, he just fed Higgins the whole game, and people
yeah,
Jones.
and Peoples
It was
Jones.
so frustrating to watch.
Yeah, Higgins looks like the number one. I mean, Landry, I never understood Landry. I mean, he's a good receiver, but he's never that ceiling guy. He'll get you 6 catches for 40 yards most games, but yeah, it's tough to trust him.
No, I agree with you there.
Yeah, and Kenny Galladay might be an under against Indiana, who's really good defensive-wise, but yeah, Deontay Johnson, I'm sure he looks like the clear number one on that team, so I'm sure he'll go over. But it's
We
Baltimore.
got Claypool on there again.
What's up?
We got Claypool under last week.
Oh yeah, Claypool. Yeah, that was an easy under. They didn't throw that on here this time for us, unfortunately. So
We have the 2 Patriot guys, James White 9.5, Myers 8.5. I don't know what the Patriots are doing this week or ever. I'm passing on all Patriots this week.
yeah, I don't know if I can trust the Patriots.
They have to pass to somebody, but James White played, I think, 10 snaps last week. Why, I don't know, but he should get a lot of dump off if he plays. But Bill Belichick's always the guy you just cannot trust in fantasy. So
Yeah, Patriots running backs just something you just avoid.
and there's already rumors out there too that if the Patriots start off slow and Cam Newton sucks in the first half, they're probably going Stidham second half, and rest of the year is going to be Stidham. They're pretty much going to start their rebuild process. That's been reported this week, so be careful on Cam Newton this week.
Yeah, I remember after that Seattle game, it's like all these teams passed on Cam Newton. It's like it's Seattle. You gotta chill. And then he gets COVID. I'm sure I mean, there's some aftermath of COVID. Some people just don't recover fully, but I can't see that being COVID. I mean, yeah. Who knows? We don't know anything about that. So yeah. I could see them getting just completely blown out. And, I mean, no Edelman. Brady didn't trust any of these receivers. Why should Cam?
100%.
So yeah, if Brady doesn't trust him, I mean Cam might trust him, but he shouldn't. They might have made some strides in the offseason. Harry looks better than he was last year. I know
He's out though.
Oh, he's out. Oh yeah, he's out too. So yeah, who? You got Myers and
Myers and Bird are the 2 receivers.
Yeah. So there's no one to pass to. So Cam Newton, you can probably just go under. Does Cam have a prop?
18.5, I think. Last I looked,
16.8. 16.8.
It's been going down.
Only concern is if he gets like 50 rushing yards and a touchdown. With that weather concern, they could be running.
Yeah.
So yeah. So other than that, I think that's it.
That's all
there's
I
not
got.
much. I don't mind Justin Herbert over. Yeah, there's some decent ones that I don't mind, but nothing else really completely sticks out to me. We'll have some more in Discord tomorrow morning and today. I'm sure we'll drop them. We'll probably drop them all today and then just drop some weather ones tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So get our Discord.
Yeah.
And check our articles out. PrizePicks is out. Monkey Knife Fight should be out today at some point. Check our Twitter tomorrow. We're getting out free stuff all the time for props. But if you want all of our official plays, everything, second half, fourth quarter, full game, get in Discord. Joey and I are in there grinding 24/7. So.
Yep, $15 a week. That's like $7.50 for lineups and $7.50 for props. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and you'd make the money by now. So.
Yeah, Ben's like what week are we? Week 8, 6-1 on
Week 4.
FanDuel.
Yeah.
50% on DraftKings, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are in the profit, so you and I
Yes, sir.
both. So come grind with us. It's fun.
Yeah, it's real fun. Yeah, and have a happy Halloween. Enjoy your trick or treating tonight. I'm sure. I don't know if they're doing trick or treating everywhere, but with
They are
COVID.
here. But go Buckeyes! Ohio State tonight. Let's go.
Go O's. OHIO, right?
O-H-I-O. Let's go.
All right. We
Woo.
will see you next week as long as Ethan doesn't die from alcohol poison tonight.
Could happen. See ya.
See ya.